Okay, welcome to day 5 of the Coast to Coast. This is the view from my breakfast table this morning. It's looking pretty moody out there, got to be honest. Today's route will see us going from Patterdale over to Shap. This is the day I've been sort of fearing the most, really. It's meant to be really tough. That said, I'm actually going from Brothers Water, which is where I had to stay last night. There's some confusion over the bus timetables. I originally had planned to get the bus back down to Patterdale, but instead I'm going to go sort of cross country, rejoin the main path somewhere near Angled Tarn, I think. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. Right, we go again. That is the Brothers Water Inn in the background where I stayed last night. It was quite, I don't know, claustrophobic in there. I've woken up without much appetite, so let's force a bit of breakfast down. But I'm not sort of really feeling the love this morning. Anyway, the guy, very informative barman in the pub, was telling me that a lot of people who stay here at Brothers Water end up just getting a bus to Shap, i.e. just skipping this stage completely. I think it is meant to be the most challenging of the lot. We're going to give it a go though. He also told me that rather than bothering to get a bus down to Patterdale, folk tend to sort of go via Hartsop. So coast to coasters who've stopped here go via Hartsop and rejoin the official trail up near Angled Tarn somewhere. So that's what we're going to try and do. Let's hope my navigation skills are up to it. Right, that's Brothers Water over there. Very happy memories of walking round that lake, certainly on the far shoreline, with Angela and Will. He must have been quite little, he was in a buggy, and I don't think Ed was there, so it must be a good sort of 17 years ago, I would have thought. So it was a bit of a nicer day that day. There's a slightly better view of Brothers Water. As you can see, not the biggest lake in the Lake District, probably smaller than Grisdale Tarn, to be honest, that we saw yesterday. This is very bad news. Just looking at the map, this is the bridge that I need to get back up to the main footpath. I don't really have much option now, to be honest, but press on. Somebody has scrawled on the map, not existent, that second bridge is not existent. The gill is way up there, so we're going to take our chances, I think, but that is worrying. So, somewhere over on that crag, according to the Ordnance Survey, there's a lead mine, which raises a couple of questions. Who on earth discovered lead right up there? And what was it like going to work there 100 years ago, having to get all the way up there to spend the day digging ore out the hillside? Miserable life. This is Cumbria pink sheep up there. Very windy. I'm into the headwind now. It's freezing. Very strong. See, back down this valley, that's Brothers Water, where we started out this morning, already quite a way in the distance. That will be the abandoned bridge then. It's looking like we're going to have to get our feet wet here. If it's easier, there's another crossing point further up where apparently there is no bridge, just like the same on the map. Someone had scrawled on the sign that it was wadeable. I'll let you know how I get on. Well, folk behind me have refused at the first fence. I'm now on the other side, as you can see. I waded it in the end. I need to now dig out some dry socks. What's really annoying is I bought diving socks, which are kind of heavy neoprene soled things that keep your feet dry and also protect against the rocks. And I'd left them out of my bag last night. I gave them to Mum to take home because I was just trying to get rid of a bit of extra weight, and that was just this eventuality was precisely the reason I bought them in the first place. So that is more than a bit annoying. Right, dry socks on. I've also taken the opportunity to dig the fleece out because it's really cold, that wind now. That's cost me quite a bit of time, that faffing around. So I'm getting a bit concerned about what time we're going to make it to our digs tonight. I think the people go home at 7 o'clock, so it could be an issue. That's one for later. Okay, over there, that one's called Water. as in Hayes in Kent. That's a new one on me. I don't think I've ever been up here. It is pretty remote and not particularly accessible. There's a couple of walkers on the other side. They didn't want to tackle the water. There was a suggestion that it was perhaps easier to cross right up by the foot of the lake there, where the river starts to come out. But it doesn't look any better. If anything, the water needs to be faster than that. Anyway, not my problem. Turning away from Hayes Water, I'm actually heading up that way. You can see I'm only about 50 metres shy of hitting the cloud and mist, whatever it is. Looks like there might be a bit of weather once we get a lot higher. There's Hayes Water from a slightly different angle. I can actually hear those people talking who are all the way down there somewhere. But the acoustics from this sort of valley and the wind means that their voices are carrying right up to me. It's weird. Well, I can still hear the beck down there, but there's absolutely no sign of Hayes Water anymore. It's now completely obscured by the cloud, and we're only about halfway up this little climb. Hooray! Made it back to Wainwright's official or original coast to coast path. I reckon that's probably taken me just as long as I come back to Patterdale than it was. Hopefully no longer. I'll get the guidebook out in a minute and try and work out just how far out of the day's total walking we think we've done so far. Fantastic. There's some people emerging out of the fog. I'm going to tag along with them because I'm feeling pretty nervous now. It's very, very murky. So I've now got some travelling companions, which is a real relief because it's really feels nerve-wracking. I'd seriously contemplated just turning around and going down, knowing that there was still another 500 feet of altitude to gain. Okay folk, that's it. You find me at the top of Kidsley Pike, the highest point on the entire Wainwright coast to coast sort of official route. This is about 2,559 feet, and that's it. It's all downhill from here, although it's not all downhill for today. There's still a few more climbs further down the valley towards Horswater. Really pleased that these people have befriended me. I would have turned around and shot myself, to be honest. And you can't really see on the video, but the mist is absolutely like billowing across, and you can't see anything there. So we came up here to get these sort of amazing views of the Lake District, and it's just nothing. Anyway, I think the rest of my party are ready to get the move on. Happily, they're also staying in the same digs as me tonight, so they're in the same predicament. They're going to get there on time. See you in a bit. Just like that, you drop straight out of the mist in a bunch of light. And I've said it before, but the camera on this phone, it just doesn't really do justice to just how steep the path down is. I think we go all the way down pretty much to the shore of Horswater. Now Horswater, as I said, is a reservoir, and it serves all of the people of Manchester with their water needs. I forget when the valley was flooded, but when it goes very low you can actually see the individual villages in the valley. I've walked around there, there's a chat. Anyway, as it's for the people of Manchester, I think when we get down to the shore we might have a little tinkle in the lake. Leave that, even have fly tipping halfway up a Cumbrian mountain. Nowhere safe from the scourge of fly tippers. So goodness for that. Now got to the that's the worst descent of the week so far. Just had to come down that crag, pretty steep, getting buffeted by the winds on all sides. Your pack acts a bit of a sail, so the wind really does get hold of you sometimes. You've got to take every step, one step at a time, to use a cliche. It's really mentally draining because every sort of stone you stand on, you're wondering, is it going to be slippy? Is it going to slip? Annoyingly, I came a cropper on the penultimate little descent, and I've badly scraped my hand and just went over on my ankle. but I mean, we've got to go on. No, like, stopping isn't an option. But yeah, not ideal. Thankfully, ahead of me now, the path becomes grass, basically grass with bracken, and that's good. It's so much softer to walk on than rocks all day. So that looks a nice little, much more gentle descent on sort of grassy slopes for the rest of the way down. Right, totally underestimated how shallow, or not shallow, this descent is. I'm just about dropped below the wind line. I'm starting to make mistakes. I'm fatigued, and that's when mistakes happen. I just need to find somewhere nice and comfortable to sit down for 20 minutes, have a bit of lunch. Lunch today is a very crudely fashioned cold toasted bacon sandwich that I put together from the remnants of my breakfast this morning. There'll be a couple of scavenged biscuits and an energy gel. What a way to live. Right, down almost at the lake. What did I just say about making mistakes when you're tired? I just got chatting to a Kiwi bloke and I blindly followed him down through a bog, whereas the actual path, I think, would have, if I stuck to it, would have circumvented the wet area. Anyway, it was in over my shoes. I've got wet feet again. I'll just sort those out in a little while. Okay. Next phase of today's walk is to walk the whole length of Haweswater. It's actually pretty rocky and more up and down than you'd expect for a shoreline walk. Winds also picked up again. I find me once more towering above Haweswater, which seems a bit pointless, to be honest. In my guidebook describes this section as an annoyingly steep climb. Still a lot of lake to cover, but that's quite a nice view over there. Just the sun just coming out. Might be a nice evening, never know. Looks like there's a mini heat wave in Cumbria for the rest of the week. Shame it wasn't today. When we're a bit nearer, I had meant to show you this splendidly isolated country house set up there above the lake, but I couldn't really film because it was so windy. You wouldn't have heard anything. I think that's probably the Haweswater Hotel. I'm going to have a little look tonight, see how much a lake-facing room is in there. Pretty steep. I won't mind staying there one day. As you see this way, I can now see the end of the lake, so the next hurdle is in sight at least. Also just had my morale boosted. I've just passed on the trail the Australians from day 2, from the horror day, and they're in good fettle, so I just had a good bit of bants with them. And it's also nice to know that there's someone behind you on the trail, so that if you do come a cropper, they'll be coming past within sort of 20 minutes or so if anything happening. So this is interesting. I never knew about this place. I'm just passing through the model village of Burnbanks. Burnbanks, apparently it's like 66 bungalows, and they were built by the Manchester Corporation, and the purpose was to provide houses for the workers that were needed to be imported in, because there wasn't a local workforce, so folk had to be imported in to build the dam when the valley was flooded. I think work started in 1930, actually, it said. Okay, so we've left Haweswater behind now, back in that direction. We're now following the track of the Haweswater Beck, which I'm guessing at some point was flowing to the River Lauder, which used to go through a caravan park when we were kids. Path goes this way, and I think it just kind of opens out into fairly flat meadows, which is a relief. The terrain is quite different here than it was compared with the lakeside, and that was surprisingly up and down, as say we were effectively following the shore. There's some serious climbs on that. The ground's quite boggy still, so trying not to lose a trainer. Right, see you later. Okay, I've just spotted in the quite distant distance over there, you can just see the odd vehicle. That must be the high bit of the M6 motorway, which goes through Shap at its highest point. So I guess I've still got a little bit to go. I'm not sure how far the village of Shap is from the motorway itself, but I know the motorway does go through Shap. Okay, not seen another human being at all for the last 2 hours, I would say. Only sheep. Not sure what river that is, that could be the Lauder. Anyway, what we've come here to see is this thing behind me, which is Shap Abbey. Now Shap Abbey, I wouldn't say it's famous, but it's sort of claim to fame is this was actually the last abbey ever founded in the UK, and it surprised me that it's the last one because it dates back all the way to the year 1199, and it was built by some monks who come over from northern France. I don't know why they chose Shap, but you'd think they'd have passed a few more desirable places en route. Anyway, better not be too mean about Shap, because I'm only about 20 minutes from there now. I think I'm going to be finding my lodgings, finding some scran, and then finding my cousin Debba for pints in the village, hopefully. I'm just rolling into downtown Shap now. It's just before 6:30. I'm almost exactly arriving at the time I predicted, so pleased with that. Now then, you found me in the garden of the New Ing Lodge where we're stopping tonight. Just enjoying a very, very cold and fizzy, very refreshing pint of Tyrrell Pilsner. So that's a good thing. In terms of the day itself, brutal. It was always going to be the tough one today. I think I said at the start of the day, some people just skip Patterdale to Shap and get a bus over instead. The barman in the place I stopped last night was telling me he's had lots of customers he's had to organise taxis for in the past. So pleased I stuck with it. I very nearly bottled it, sort of 3/4 of the way up when the visibility was so bad, but some good Samaritans let me tag along with them, so I felt a lot happier, and made it. But it's still a long way after that sort of Kidsty Pike, which is the highest bit on the whole of the coast to coast walk. It's, you know, that's quite early in the walk. The shoreline of Haweswater is surprisingly rough trail, and actually quite a lot of upping and downing on that, so you know, that wasn't easy in itself. And then once we got away from Haweswater, sort of over the fields towards Shap, very, very boggy in parts, so I was glad I hadn't put on a third pair of socks. Just firmed it with wet socks. Going to go and freshen up now, go for a bit of scran, and give our Debba a call, and maybe have a couple of pints with her before the mystery guest arrives a bit later. Anyway, that's a wrap for today. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for all the encouragement, and we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a very long stretch, but that's one to worry about in the morning. I know.